Guys, for some reason, it's now wanting to play around with my signal. Anyway, my undesperate haircut that needs to be done. So anyway, I want to talk today, and I want to really push this because I am getting absolutely sick and tired out watching families going through the social care system where there needs to be a psychological report done. These psychological reports are not being done to say, how can we help this person? These psychological reports are being done on what information can be gathered to give them evidence that takes that family below the threshold. I then have to see these psychological reports come back where the sentence then says what therapy that they suggest that the mum or father, even child or a family member may need. And then the famous sentence that I see all the time: this will not be paid on NHS, is not available on the NHS, and has to be private. Hello there, Claire. So when you have somebody, say an 18-year-old, please be careful. I have to be careful with contempt of court because this is how much they don't care, okay? This is not about helping an 18-year-old who was taken into foster care at the age of 4, who was pretty much sitting smoking a joint at the age of 4 with a father who was picking up some needles and stuff. So rightfully so that we needed the social care system and police to go in and take. I'm not also going to say whether it was right or wrong as well, because there was children that died in a car crash. Okay, not going to get into it so much. All I'm going to say is this 4-year-old that was taken into foster care wasn't adopted. It was at the time where they weren't pushing for adoption. It was all about going into foster care. Every placement has broken down. Every placement that this particular 18-year-old was placed in were paid. They were given a wages and they were paid. So they were paid to take whatever age daughter in. So that would be like me now, if I was a foster carer, getting a knock on the door or a phone call to say, right, we've got a 4-year-old down here, are you able to take them in? Fantastic, not a problem. So therefore, 4-year-old gets brought to me and we sit down. I get to know this 4-year-old. Obviously, I don't get to know everything about this 4-year-old. I just get to know certain information about them. So then on the basis of this 4-year-old then being placed with somebody, let's go back to use me as a prime example. So I can talk about me, even though I'm gag this to you all. I was 11, I think, when I actually came out about what was going on with me when I was a kid. So basically, an 11-year-old child has just released information into the ether. That means that somebody has to do something with that information. So basically, an 11-year-old tells school, tells social, tells police that an uncle of hers is subjecting her to sexual behaviour. And then as a result of all of this failure, then gets pinned down by 6 lads, and one girl holds her head while they basically raped me. Each and every single person took their time to take turns, basically. So then you've got a traumatised child. Now, we lived in an age and a day where children should be seen and not heard. We're going back 10, 15 years. Go back to the times of the child abuse inquiry, when children were taken into foster care and they were subjected to rape and sexual abuse. I'll be careful because my kids are in the other room, they're watching the telly. You okay? Let me just put the blind. I can't wait to have an office because unfortunately for my children, they will always be raised to never judge the foster care kid. Children in foster care deal with enough issues as it is without being the child at class or adopted that everybody knows doesn't have the mother and father. Prime example, and I get told off for using the name, but watching one lad who can sing and who's got a mother who's supporting, and then I'm watching one girl who's got the system, who's a singer, and nobody's supporting. And it's like, so at the end of the day, we're all meant to come into the world with a mother and father, aren't we? We're all meant to have the mother and father that brings us into the world, so therefore we are happy, healthy and thriving, being the best version of ourselves. That's what the education system is for. That is what all support systems around everybody is about, isn't it? It's about making sure that we're happy, healthy and thriving. Yet there's a big gap, because we live in a system that isn't about whether we're happy and healthy and thriving. It's about whether we can wipe our bottoms, whether we can use knives and forks, whether we are able to use cooking facilities, and whether we're able to get ourselves in and out of a bathroom correctly. And that's it. So as long as you can open your eyes, it doesn't matter how much pain you're in, it doesn't matter what you're dealing with or what you're suffering, it's can you provide yourself with your basic needs. So as long as you get up, whatever problems that you've got, you go to work, you serve somebody, you've got a wage, you go home and you pay your own way, then that's all fine. Now we live in three dividing worlds here in Great Britain. There is the social housing, private rental and mortgage, or basically you own it outright. Here is the problem with social care on day one. Do you ever see your mortgage advisor in a child protection conference? Would you ever see your bank manager in a child protection conference? No. So why do you see housing officers? Housing officers are causing much problems for families. Housing officers' jobs are to provide a home and make sure you pay their rent. That is it. There is no other position for that person whatsoever. So when you go into a child protection conference, you will have a chairperson. What qualifications has that chairperson got? What relevance have they got? Straight away they are overstanding. That chairperson is not coordinating personal-centred care planning. Straight away you're making a person powerless. Why do we have mental health in this world? We have mental health in this world because people don't know themselves. They don't know who they are, they don't know what they're capable of, they don't believe in themselves, and they don't even know what is actually available. Hence why people live in depression, suppression, okay? These are people who have gone through their lives being told they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't be this. And that means that they are living so out of who they truly are. So then we get told that we have borderline personality. Why do you get told you have borderline personality? You get told you have borderline personality because you don't know who you are. You don't have a personality. You haven't formed your personality. As a child grows, at the age of 2, 3, a personality really shines through. A personality even shines through in a baby. Personality is who a person is. If you do not have parents around you that enable and empower you to be the best version of who you are, so if you're a 4-year-old who's going around constantly singing or dancing, therefore you would assume that your parent would literally go, wow, okie dokie, I'm going to enable my child into singing and dancing. No, the child likes singing and dancing, so what do? We send them to brownies. Okay, now brownies could be a good part of that. But why do we send them to brownies? We send them to brownies because, or cubs or guides or scouts, because it's free. Ish, to a degree, to a level, buying uniforms, things like that. And when I was a kid, and we were at school, we used to do this big thing on, what was it, Oxfam? It used to have the circle with the tear. And when I was a kid, I always did things for charity. Always. I saved the knackerjack frog. So I thought, I have raised money for Great Ormond Street. I have raised money for funds in Africa. I have raised funds, I've done sponsorship. I have collected 2p pieces and put them all the way around our place to put this money to help. I see so many people doing things for charity. So many things. I watched a film last night and it was of a mother. She had 2 boys. She was in a marriage that she didn't particularly like at the particular time, and the boys had gone bridge jumping. One of the boys had jumped very safely with their friends and they had goaded the younger brother to jump, But just as he jumped, a log had come under the bridge and he went cracking down onto the log. And he ended up with a spinal injury that meant that he was paralysed. Now, that was an accident. It wasn't something he was born with. It was an accident that happened. No? You done? Want anything else? Okay. Now, at the end of the day, there has to be some form of intervention. Somebody would have gone, taken that boy out of the water. Yes, you can have those. It's fine. Yes, go take them. Do you want me to open them? You've got them? Can you just make sure that you keep them in the tub then? So it's... Yeah, because Mummy's not got a hoover working at the moment. Yep, that's fine. Take that. Yes, it's already been torn and open. See, it's open. It's already open. There you go. Yep, it's already done. Go. Go on and go and enjoy them. So, yep. So at the end of the day, a paramedic turns up, don't they? Well, one, it's not free. It might be 2 paramedics in an ambulance. The ambulance has to come out. The petrol money for the ambulance, the equipment on board, the equipment used, any medication that's used. Has the child been given an injection because he might be bleeding from internally? All this costs money. Why does it cost money? It costs money because we're in a money world. We're in a time for service world. We are in a, you want this, I will do it for you, but this is how much it's going to cost. Now, this mum had literally travelled all the way around the States to try to get her son the correct care, having insurance. So basically she had an insurance policy, and the insurance was the people that would pay for the medical intervention on her boy. As far as everybody was concerned, there's nothing that could be done for this boy. This is his life. Now, this little boy was having a lot of pain, okay? He was also having spasms that were causing further pain. In fact, his pain is not even anywhere near the sort of pain that EDS people suffer. But he had a mother who couldn't watch him in pain. He had a brother who couldn't watch him in pain. He had a brother that also had the guilt because he was the person that edged him to jump off of the bridge. It took 2 years for that young boy to explain the level of trauma that he was suffering through that guilt. And it is trauma. To hold on to the fact that he felt that his brother jumped because he told him to, and his brother had an accident, creates trauma. Trauma that changes people. Trauma that will make people change in ways that they don't understand. I didn't understand the level of my trauma until overseeing and watching what Josie's going through. And also the fact that I've got 2 boys and I have a mother around me who's had her children taken. As people know, that was probably the most horrible, horrendous thing that I went through after my children was taken. Not just did they punish me by taking my children with no crime, they also took me away from all of the children that I have ever known. They took me away from the families that I have always known because they made it very difficult for people, because my friends having me there with their children, they were then putting their children at risk. Why? Why? Was I going to rape them? Was I going to beat them? Was I going to smack them? No. Social said it would put them at risk because now I'm a significant risk to children. Well, if I was a significant risk to children, I would have been taken to the criminal courts and I would have been put in prison. But I wasn't actually accused of any crime, was I? No, I was just told that EDS was the easiest condition to claim to have and completely destroyed our family, even though both Aaron and Faith have now been diagnosed with EDS. And we're going to go through the same now again with Elijah and Shiloh. So at the end of the day, there is a specialist out there that deal with these conditions. A specialist for each trauma, a specialist for each condition. Take COVID. There are multi-millionaires in the world now. Multi-billionaires in the world now. Why? Because they're working on COVID. They're coming up with a cure for COVID. The person who comes up with a cure for COVID will be a very rich and wealthy person. Now, at the end of the day, there is a Ehlers-Danlos syndrome support group, yeah? That's not, no, that's a battery for a motorbike. It's not fit to be played with because batteries have energy, and even if it's not pumped in and you touch that, it's still live. No, that battery is still live even though it's not plugged in. It's a battery. Yeah, and it can... It is for a bike, yes. Yes. No, it's not a phone. For a bike, yes. Cars, yes. And that car needs a battery in order to make it go. And it's like us as human beings, that we need our spirit. Our spirit is our battery. Our spirit is our... What is it that you're wanting, darling? Batteries? Okay. You're on something? What are you trying to make? Oh, you're trashing everything. What are you trying to do? Anyway, my point being with all of this, yeah, is... Oh, so I did have candles all this time. Yeah, okay, put those back in there, babes. They're birthday candles. There is an Ehlers-Danlos syndrome support unit, yeah. So shouldn't that place be the people that has all of the needs available, yeah? So say I go along to the EDS support group and I go, right, I'm struggling with this, struggling with that, need this, this and this and this. Shouldn't it all be run from that point? Well, no, it's not. So when people are going out on their bikes to raise money and people are putting on table stalls to raise funds and people are going out and climbing mountains to raise funds, take the EDS Society for starters. Why are people like me having their kids taken? Why am I not getting the correct support? Why don't I have physio? Why don't my boys have physio? Why don't we have correct support and help with the fact that I may never play netball again? I may never dance to the level that I want to. I may never skate to the rest. And it pisses me off when people like you out there go, "Well, oh, how can you have EDS if you skate? How can you have EDS if you dance?" Well, if I didn't have EDS, mate, there'd be a lot more I'd be doing. That for a boat, so that battery goes into a boat as well. No, that's jet ski. Yeah. So take jet skiing for an example, okay? Yes, go. In order to go jet skiing's fun. It's fun. But with jet skiing also comes a high risk. You can come off. Somebody like me, if I was to come off, I would probably tear my shoulder. I'd probably injure my hip. So who picks up the bill? Should we as a UK have private insurance, that means that it doesn't matter whether or not we have an accident or we're born with something, that our insurance company pays. Because now we've got a situation with an 18-year-old where who foots the bill? Because I don't see Solvent footing the bill on this mother. I don't see anybody actually giving a damn that literally today, the adoption agency here in Portsmouth is going to put them claws on that little baby girl and go, but do you know how much money is being moved between all of these people and how much money that they will get for this little baby that's going to be moved into the adoption world? But damn the mother. Damn the mother. Damn the mother. Damn the mother who at the end of the day, if they go through with this care and placement order, she does not have the tools. She is too young to be able to cope with this level of trauma. But who cares? It's a battery, darling. How much do I have to pay people to make them care? How much do I have to pay a studio to get Josie in it? How much do I have to pay a vocal cord coach, because it's turning out that Josie is EDS and has vocal cord dysfunction? How much is it going to be for a therapist to give a damn about this girl? How much is it going to cost for social housing to fill out a form to give this girl a home? She has all the tools and capabilities to fund herself, but she has not been given the correct tools and support. Why? Because nobody actually really cares. What people care about is looking like they care. You can't put that on there, darling. That's a completely different wrong battery. And what you've got to watch with these batteries is they have an electrical current. And you'd end up, yes, I know, but it isn't something that is a toy. Yeah, this is something that you're going to have to do with Daddy. Because this is where mummy doesn't understand stuff. All I know is that that's not a toy. Okay? And be careful with those toys. So at the end of the day, take Boris Johnson for an example. Yes, I know. Go and find something else you can put the battery in. £100,000 he's going to pay the person to speak for him. Can't even speak for himself. He has to pay £100,000. It's an employment racket. And it's an employment racket where lots of people, even artists, and I've had enough of artists doing it, and I'm going to out every single artist, and I'm going to ask them directly, that charity money that you're making, where's it going? Because it just, to me, sounds like people want number ones, and they want to make themselves look good. I've seen it. I've been on this planet 42 years. And in 42 years, I've seen it time and time and time again. And I've seen these charities take small cases. Yep, you can't play with the battery. And they'll put pictures up of foster care kids. Yeah, neglected. You want to put it in the box there? You're going to put it away? Yeah, it needs to go in a car or a bike. In your car? Yeah. You want to put the battery in your car? Yeah. Okay. Well, the car and the battery, they're all, without that battery, they can't work. Anyway, guys, I'm going to have to shoot off. I think I've made my point. Everybody gets up, finishes work today, this week. It's Friday. Yeah? People finish their jobs. I wonder how many people in them jobs ever bothered to actually ask themselves whether the people are actually getting the help. Yeah, it's not going in the battery. I'm gonna have to go and deal with this battery because it's a bike battery, and my son can't play with it as much as he's wanting to. But all I'm gonna say is, it's not. It's for your battery. There. Your car. You want to go and put the battery in the car? Okay. Can you see this? It's not about caring. It's about policy. Policy and power. But we're not against flesh and blood, are we? We're against powers and principalities. And all I see is people, your car is making a lot of shit money for charities while people suffer. And that ain't right, and it's going to stop. Because Josie needs help, and people got to pull money out of their pockets because to talk to me isn't good enough. She has to have a therapist, and they have to have a bill. Because if there isn't a bill, it's not been done. So someone's got to foot a bill, and the charities ain't doing it. And a lot of people out there making money from mental health. For 10 years we've been saying nobody leaves behind. Well, right now there's a lot of people being left behind, and I ain't happy.